I do want to, because what's interesting with you is, you put out a few albums in the last few years, but you talked about in another interview recently how you only recently discovered your voice in the last year or so. You've had these opera coaches like Michael Donovan, Susan Stackhouse, Nicole Jordan, all these people in your life.
Go ahead, John G. Yes, brother.
I got you. That have really helped you discover your true voice, which I don't know if it's tenor, that's what you're meant to be. Maybe I'm wrong, but like when I listen to your latest songs, which first of all, Scotia Born, you put out a month or so or less, and then of course you have What Are You Saying? That you just put out today, October 15th. I'm not just saying that because I received this information, but it really does sound like, especially with What Are You Saying? That sounds to me like your natural voice, like what you're meant to sound like. I'm not to say that your other stuff wasn't good, but your voice really shines through What Are You Saying? So can you talk to me like how do you feel knowing that now you know what you truly are meant to sound like or sing like?
It feels a lot different, like especially because and I'm gonna try to get through a very quick story. There's
Yeah.
this dude who I was because I'm a Red Seal plumber, right? So I
Mhm.
was working my last couple of months. I was working at we were doing renovations at King's College in Halifax, and he comes up to me. He's like, Lance. Actually, no, he doesn't even say my name. He's like, excuse me, like, can I talk to you for a minute? I've been here for 3 weeks, and I have heard you sing six different, use six different voices while you're singing.
Hmm.
Do you know what that is? I'm just like, no, I don't know what that is. I really don't have no idea what I'm doing. He's like, well, that's timbre. He's like, have you ever taken voice lessons before? I was like, this is very crazy. The universe is speaking to me right now because I've been thinking about taking voice lessons. He was like, don't take it the wrong way, but you should. Because if you've never done it before and you're using six different voices and they're all great, you need to learn how to actually access that and do it properly so you're not hurting yourself. Think about the longevity thing. I'm just like, oh, okay, so this guy's really talking to me. It come to find out that this man is a blues musician who's played with Stevie Ray Vaughan and like just crazy blues musician.
Hmm.
And so I take the lessons. Lady who I take it with first, her name's shout out to Carlene Francis. She realized that like she didn't have the capacity to teach me, so she sent me to Michael Donovan, who Michael Donovan helped me tap into like the mechanics of actually singing properly. Once I figured that out, I was like, oh wow, I've been singing wrong my whole life. He actually allowed me to find out like what type of voice I have, which is I'm pretty sure it's baritone, but I can be a tenor.
Hmm.
So he's like, you can go from baritone to tenor, and if you were a tenor opera singer, Lance, you'd be rich. I was like, well, I'm not trying to do that. So then I do Nicole Jordan. Nicole Jordan gives me a song to sing. I just told this story the other day. Gives me an aria. I think they're called arias.
Okay.
And the first time I sang it, she wept. She cried. And I was like, are you okay? She's like, Lance, that was just beautiful. Like, you really need to, like, you have a really beautiful instrument. And once I found that out, I was like, man, like, I wish that I was given the space and the opportunity to really use my voice how it should be used. Because a big reason why I have never used my voice properly is because growing up in Uniacke Square, we have really small houses, and my mom did not like noise. So
Mm-mm.
I'm not using my voice at the capacity it needs to, or it could be. You know what I mean? And now, since I found out like what type of voice I actually have, I'm able to just use that bag of tricks now, and I can actually hear the difference of what that sounds like compared to my older stuff where I'm putting on like I'm not using it properly. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not singing from my stomach. I'm singing from a lot of here. I'm trying to do different voices without actually mechanically doing it right. Now that I have the tools to do it, I can just do things with my voice now that I've done these lessons I didn't know that I was capable of doing. But
Right.
really, like when you bring up what are you saying, I really give a special shout out to Aaron Costello, who was able to really get the best out of me on those tracks. Like Scotia Born, man, I'm on there with giants. You know what I mean? Like Gary Beals, giant, right? Haley Smith, giant. Like these are my favorite singers in Nova Scotia, right? That's a big reason why I chose to rap because I'm like, no, I'm not. I can't be trying to hang with these guys. You know what I mean? But now I get the tools to use it properly, and I know what feels great.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's been a great journey. I've only taken the lessons like for as long as I've been singing, like professionally, like or just performing. I think 2016 was the first time I ever performed ever. From
Mhm.
2016 to like a year and a half, because I was singing totally wrong. So now I'm basically trying to get back to the real mechanics of it. Like I've been singing so wrong. All of this is tight. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get back to actually that tension, getting the tension out of my voice. And I'm really starting to establish what that feels like. Because I know once I get to that point where like things are just, they feel a lot free, that's when that natural voice comes out. So on this record, you're hearing my natural voice because I've got to the point of learning how to be less tense and be more vulnerable and actually not think about it too much. You know what I mean? And just really kind of just bring my whole self to the art. So shout out to voice lessons.
Shout out to voice lads. And well, it's funny because you mentioned too when you were incarcerated in Burnside prison, you said
Yeah,
that was really, I think, your first time when you could really sing freely because, like you said, you couldn't sing at home with your mom. But I guess you thought, oh, I could finally sing, but then you again didn't realize, oh, I'm not maybe singing correctly. But I assume you didn't care at that point because you just were able to express yourself,
that's
right?
right.
So, I do want to. So again, what are you saying? Which is such a great mix for me of R&B, but also Motown vibes I get with the
Word.
instrumentals. I love that. And then the album that eventually I assume it'll be on, or it is on 1783, which are releasing next year. Um, First, I hope it has an R&B vibe because I love that. But I want to talk about, your interest in history and like civil rights. Because 1783, does that refer to like kind of like the start of Africville specifically, or no?
Okay, no. So Africville, so 1783, the number 1783 is kind of like the first, like when you're talking about the history of blacks in Nova Scotia, that was the first wave of
Right.
black
They came
folks coming
over.
into Nova Scotia,
Yeah.
and like it's 1783, like as a whole, as an album, is less about like the history of blacks in Nova Scotia and more in using that number as a starting point to kind of use as references to pull from, like stories and themes to pull from. So like it's more of like the goal aspect of 1783, like as a whole, as an album, is to really, for us as Black folks in Nova Scotia, to look at what it takes to actually be working together as one. Because there's so many Black communities in Nova Scotia, like so many, like from 1783 to 1816, there's so many Black communities established and settlement established in Nova Scotia, and since and with those within those Black communities, it's all very the same. It's rooted in the same values. It's rooted in the same faith, and it's rooted in the same like love for family. But at one point, it tragically just ripped, where it's like that connectiveness isn't as much as it used to 40, 50 years ago. Like my generation, it was non-existent. Like we did not like that neighborhood. We did not like these people from that neighborhood. We didn't look at ourselves as we didn't look at ourselves understanding the history of Nova Scotia. I wanted to use 1783 as a reference point for us, especially my generation and the next, to really start understanding what that cultural richness is in Nova Scotia for us as blacks in Nova Scotia. And it can be a few different themes, like African Nova Scotian is very distinct in no in the black culture in Nova Scotia. There's like a mixture of indigenous and black folks. Like there's so much richness in terms of like who we are identity wise that I didn't have when I was 15, 16 years old. So like 1783 is using, again, it's using that as a reference point to really touch on a lot of the themes that we got to touch on and talk about within our black community, and
Yeah.
hopefully talk about them and heal through them, and for the end goal of us, yes, coming together as trying to get that closeness back that it used to when my grandmother or my great grandmother was alive. You know what I mean?
I love that, and I love learning like the history behind things because I know on one end, a lot of people when they listen to music, they just want to be entertained, and not necessarily care about the meaning behind songs. But it's important to have that. And I bring up another person like JRD and Jordan, who's from
Yes.
there. I've
Shout out
talked
to
to him.
Jordan. Yeah.
I say this all the time. I think he's so underrated. He's so talented.
Oh yes.
I don't know if you've worked with him, but you should if you haven't. So
We have been in the same creative circles, like
yeah,
his the place one of the places of refuge and safety for him is in Uniac Square, and I see him down there all the time when he's here.
yeah,
He's really good friends with my older brother. His name's Matthew Johnson. He goes by Notes.
yeah.
And there's he's always down Ghetto Child's house when he's down PJ's house. Um, but yeah, Jordan is amazing, and Jordan has been showing this latest record and these songs a lot of love. I love JRDN. He was a basketball coach back in the day, and he's a basketball superstar. Like historically, people love Jordan through his basketball, but now
Yeah.
since he's found his voice, he's always had a voice, but now it seems like he's just more free to kind of do what he wants to do now, and it's beautiful. And he has always been an inspiration to me and always very encouraging. And he's always tried to collaborate. But it's like, damn, we ain't really got a lot of time. You know what I mean? Like, I got two babies, and I
Hmm.
really feel like since I've had children, it really has grounded me so much more in family and just really kind of like paying a lot more attention to them, less of trying to just grab everything and just really just do everything that I feel is within my core value. Like the history of Nova Scotia, Black Nova Scotia history, that's part of my deep core value because there's nothing I never had it growing up, and now that I've learned of it, and now that I understand what that looks like, now that I've gone across Nova Scotia and talked with a lot of Black elders in different Black communities about their experiences growing up here, and who their families are, it's really interesting and crazy how connected everybody is in Nova Scotia. Everybody's connected. It's so crazy. And when you talk about Africville, that my grandfather, Victor Carvery, he was born in Africville. My great great grandmother, Harriet Clayton, she was a member of the Africville community. She ran the post office in Africville. Uh, and she was, I don't know if she was a matriarch, but we have a strong history in Africville. We all know the story of Africville, what happened to Africville. I'm super interested in the years before that. Like anytime something bad happens, that's the only thing that we hear about. I'm
Hmm.
super interested in the 100 years before that, before the demolition of Africville, and that's a history that has not been told yet, and that's a history that we need to try to preserve, try to extract, and try to understand because we're being fed demolition, demolition, tragedy, tragedy, tragedy. What about the 100 years before that? I'm trying to. That's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the joys of our communities, the joys of our experiences. We're fed tragedy all the time. We've been through it. When it comes, it's almost like it comes and goes. It's like we've been normatized to it. But
Yeah.
I use my now that I found, I feel like I found my purpose within music now is I like to try to extract a lot of the joy and the great things, the family stories and the unsung heroes that have yet to be talked about within Nova Scotia, and just use that as a reference to make music that everybody can relate to. And a lot of this inspiration, it really comes from the folks before me. Like, you know what? I got to give a serious shout out to my brother who has been a mentor to me. His name's David Woods. If anybody doesn't know who David Woods is, you should look up David Woods. He's done a lot of Black history, Nova Scotian Black history research. He's someone who is a champion for the Black communities in Nova Scotia. I also want to give a serious shout out to Sylvia Hamilton, filmmaker from Nova Scotia. She's done a lot of research. I want to give a special shout out to George Elliott Clark. All of these folks have been super inspiring to me to really kind of just learn of the history of Nova Scotia. We get so influenced by social media and American pop culture. But we got everything right here, man. We got everything in Canada, man. Like we really do. We don't have to go all the way out there to kind of where I'm trying to set trends by us understanding who our families are. I'm trying to set trends by us really reconnecting to, if you have your grandparents here, reconnecting to that generation, because like there's a big generational gap right now where the older generation and the younger generation just ain't clicking with each other. They don't understand each other. But I'm really trying to use this album to in the music of 1783 to really help us intergenerationally connect and understand that, we're all one folk. You know what I mean? We're all one people, cuz just understand that we all hold the same values once when we look at it and we talk to our grandparents, we can really learn a lot of ourselves through them. We don't have to learn of ourselves through social media or having to take the hard road all the time. You know what I mean? Trying to really establish us understanding that our families, they hold a lot of teachings. They have a lot of things that they've been trying to teach us forever, but we don't listen to it when we're young. We don't.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree, and I think what you're doing is great. And I think it's if you, and I guess you're already doing that, where you if you do a mixture of music and kind of like movies to educate people. Like for me, like when you talk about like we have everything here, like so George Dixon, who I literally learned about because of doing research for you, how he basically invented shadow boxing, and he was grew up in Africville. Like that's cool. That's so I didn't know that. You know?
Thank you. Like invented shadow boxing, cuz.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, who else? The Boston Tar Baby,
Duke
from
Ellington,
Lincoln
you said
Falls.
visited a lot though, I guess, or something.
What's that?
Like Duke Ellington wasn't born there, but like he visited a lot because,
He
right?
frequented Africa. Anytime that he ever came to Halifax,
Yeah.
that's where he stayed. And his wife was a Dixon, and his wife's parents were from Africville, moved from Africville to Boston. A lot of folks. There's an interesting connection between Boston and Halifax, not just through the Halifax explosion,
Yeah.
but just through blacks actually feeling they can prosper within Boston, like they can get by in Boston. So a lot of folks, a lot of Black Nova Scotian folks moved to Boston, and Duke Ellington's wife just happened to be one of the ladies that moved there. And yeah, man, there's a lot of folks here. Like there's one of the first like black. There's so many firsts
Hmm.
there's so many first black anything that started in like that are from Nova Scotia. And
Yeah.
like I mean, just like the last segregated school in black segregated school in Nova Scotia shut down in 1983. I think it was called
Which is
Mary E.
wild.
Cornish School.
That's not that long ago, in my opinion. That's wild.
Not that long ago. I mean, the last residential school
Yeah.
shut down. I think it was 1996
Yeah.
in Nova Scotia, right? So it's like that exists at the same time, like residential schools,
Yeah.
public schools, residential schools, and segregated schools all existed in the same, like yesterday. You know what I mean? So like when you really, I mean, oh my god. Okay, the crazy thing that I learned, John,
Yeah.
is have you ever? I mean, in Montreal, Toronto, is there a thing called 4+, like for kids to go to school before primary? It's called pre-primary.
I don't think so. Okay. No.
Okay, so Nova Scotia, right? When I started going to school, there's a program for kids. It's called pre-primary, which we call 4+. Okay, so I'm born 1992. My first year of school would have been 3, 4, 5, 6. 1996. That's the first year I got my Nintendo 64. Still got my Nintendo 64 to this day. No one can beat me in 007. Don't even try. Don't even try. Mario Kart. Don't even try. Anyways, so 4+ was established
Yeah.
1996. How did I not know until I was 33, 31 years old
Yeah.
that 4+ started from a radical idea of two churches in Nova Scotia, sorry, in Halifax. One of them was the Brunswick Street Mission, which is predominantly white led, and Cornwallis Street Baptist Church, which is predominantly black led. These two churches came together to fight and help combat, or to try to fight the racism, the segregation within Halifax in the 60s. And they started a preschool, which was 50-50 all across the board. The board, the staff, and the kids were black and white. And they did that so they could, because there were so many black folks within the north end of Halifax, so many white folks that weren't getting along, and they did that so they could come along and work together and understand each other. And they all like if for 30 something years this preschool existed, and because of that model, 4+ across Nova Scotia started for kids to go to school before primary. Was I taught that it was actually started by this council of women from Halifax, black and white women from Halifax? Who did I was I taught that? Absolutely not. It took me until 31 years old to learn this,
Yeah.
and that's why I find it so important to put this history, like facts about your community, stuff that's happened, like stuff that like the great stuff that happened, not just the bad stuff that happened, but really enforce that within your music so we can learn from it. You know what I mean? Like it's just mind blowing. Like so much stuff. There's so much history and so much inspiration within Nova Scotia that once I've really started digging deep, I was like, cuz I don't need to write about anything else.
Yeah, you have a lot of material to work with. I do want to end it shortly because I see I have 4 minutes, which is fine. Oh, by the way, great song. Shout out 4 minutes, Timbaland. And anyways, that's my mind all over the place. Because you talk about like you do so many things, not just being a singer, I guess I'm not asking you to sell yourself, but who would you say, if I say, who is Lance Sampson, aka Aquakultre? What would you tell people?
I say I'm a human being first. Second, I say I'm a father, I'm a parent. Third, I list all the other things, which is a theater show developer, host and director of a television series. I've directed most of my music videos. I am I would sometimes say I'm a comedian. Um, I am a youth outreach worker. I work for an organization called Levo Violence. I also am a Red Seal plumber. I can fix your toilet and I can make sure all the plumbing in your house works. Um, I'm also an artist. I don't generally like to lead with aquaculture. I always lead with my name is Lance Sampson, and I professionally go by aquaculture because I I know that I'm bringing a lot of honor to my family through the things, all the stuff that I know my family couldn't be is manifesting through me. You know what I mean? So I always like to leave with my name first,
Yeah.
and I'm all of those things, but all of those things could not have existed without all of the trials and tribulations that I've been through in my life. And it couldn't have existed without me actually feeling taken be brave enough to just try something new and saying yes to things, like, you know what I mean, and just trying it, see if it works out, following through and showing up. None of that would have existed without me actually doing the thing. And so a lot of stuff, but I always say that I'm a father throughout all that because it's those kids, my relationship, my family always comes first. Everything is secondary. You know what I mean? If my wife got something to do, that's more important than what I got to do, honestly. Um, but I'm of service to my community and of service to people in general. Like, you know what I mean? I'm someone who has have acquired a lot of resources over my life, and I try to do that and try to give as much resources as I can to the young people that I work with and the young people that I help mentor. A lot of stuff, and I don't generally like to elevator pitch myself because there's so much and nobody got no time to hear it. So thank you for
You
asking.
you forgot. You're a smoothie connoisseur. You got a smoothie named after you.
No, you better stop,
Come
John.
on,
You better
alter
stop.
egos. Let's
Yeah,
go.
done at the Alter Egos Cafe.
Let's
You know
go.
what? Yeah, like, we got a smoothie. It's called the Aquaculture Smoothie. I helped raise some money for that from that establishment to get a smoothie to get a blender, and they named a smoothie after me. So shout out to Alter Egos Cafe.
That was perfect. We actually literally have a minute, so I just want to again just say thank you so much. I really look forward honestly to the album because like I these last two songs, man, like I really like them. Again, not to say I don't like the other stuff, but because you found your potential now, I'm really excited about it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, John, man. Thank you for caring enough, and thank you for digging deep, straight up. you did some history there.
I had more stuff, but we don't have enough time, so it's
We can
okay.
do part two.
We could try part two another time. Yeah, you got it. Well, if you're coming here, you let me know. Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's
All
do it,
right,
man.
man. All the best and good luck with the music videos later.
Thank you, John.
All right.